We are getting closer and closer to actually sitting in this thing and having our driver tangible components like at the ready. But in order for us to really sit down in position and kind of see where we want to place things, we actually need to be able to plant our butts inside of this cabin. We have some Zacutech low profile seat brackets and some slider bars from Sparco and some Sparco seats that we're going to go ahead and mount today. This is what came in our Zacutech package that they sent to us. We want to give them a huge thank you. I've already laid them in. They fit really nice. They look pretty dang sharp. So let's get some seats inside of this thing. All right, all done putting those seats in. Those Zacutech low profile seat brackets made it pretty easy, and these guys sit in there nice and snug. Adjustable as well. That driver's gonna be able to slide back and forth. These QRTR seats are really snug. They hug you really tight. And now that we have them in place, we can go ahead and sit inside of that driver's seat and see how all of our gauges, shift knob, and screen are gonna interface with us.
This video is brought to you by Manscaped.com. Christmas came early for me this year because I was gifted with the new performance package from Manscaped. Let's check it out. And if you like to take care of your nether regions like I do, your jingle balls will thank you. And that's because Manscaped has created the world's first all-in-one grooming kit that will get you covered from head to toe. The Lawnmower 4.0 waterproof cordless trimmer is built with advanced skin-safe technology, which is what makes the lawnmower so special. It helps reduce nicks and cuts on your most sensitive areas. It has this cool LED light to help with trimming on those cold, dark winter nights. And here's a stocking stuffer for you. Crop Preserver Ball Deodorant and Crop Reviver Ball Toner Spray. And these are the real game changer. And new to the collection is the Weed Whacker Nose and Ear Hair Trimmer. I had no idea I needed this so bad, but I'm so glad that Santa hooked it up for me. The Weed Whacker has these 360-degree rotary blades and the same skin-safe technology from the trimmer, so it helps prevent tugging and tears in your nose and ears. With that said, every one of you needs to add Manscaped to your Christmas wish list. So if you've got an extra hairy friend in your life, or if you're just looking for something for your significant other, make sure you pick him up the Performance Package by Manscaped. And for a limited time, you're gonna get the Shed Travel Bag, which fits all these awesome Manscaped items, as well as some of your other toiletries when you travel. So this is a great bonus gift. And you're also gonna get these awesome Manscaped anti-chafing boxer briefs. And I can tell you guys firsthand, these bad boys are comfy. So what are you waiting for? Head on over to manscaped.com, use our promo code right there, and you're gonna get 20% off your order, 2 free gifts, as well as free international shipping. So don't miss out, 'tis the season. Huge shout out to Manscaped for sponsoring this video. Now let's get back to making some cool cars.
Now, we have to figure out our dash and our tangible goods inside of here. So when you first start this thing, you're gonna need to hit a push button start, and you're gonna need to shift it into gear. I hopped on my 3D software and drafted up something that's gonna house our Nissan GTR push button that is OEM wired to work with our system. Yes, sir. It's gonna be our on accessory for 12 volt and then brake on press for actual starting the drive unit. This is from Zero EV. This is our shift knob. That's a really nice OEM feedback as you shift from one to the other. We're gonna try to reuse all of these factory temperature settings and fan, blower, fan speed. The nice thing about what we're using with the T2C that we're gonna be using to control this drive unit is that it actually has an app. And that is what we're gonna have displayed. So it's gonna give you your kilowatts, it's gonna give you your RPMs. You have a couple settings you can change and you can monitor, but it shows you temperatures, it shows you throttle position, it shows you all kinds of stuff. But now we weren't gonna stick it in front of the steering wheel. What we're actually gonna do is use the bezel that is already on the dash. There used to be a flip up compartment right here, but I think we're gonna fit a bezel that's gonna hold that just outside, tilted driver oriented, and that's gonna be your status for this thing. And then just below that, that's where the stereo went. That's where the stereo is gonna go. These gauges, that's a waste to just cap those off or anything. What we're actually gonna do is we're gonna have some analog gauges. Now we partnered up with Speed Hut, and they threw a couple custom faces on this. This is our motor temp and battery temp is CAN bus communicated. And then this is a 0 to 5 volt signal from the BMS. So they are all gonna read live. As soon as we turn everything on, it's gonna give us our live action. There's actually warning lights. If the charge status gets too low or if any of these temperatures get too high, we have a warning light right here. It's gonna draw our attention and tell us to take action. Those are 2 and 1/16, and they're gonna fit right in here. The thing is, I gotta adapt how these old gauges from the Z, the old system, I got 3 pieces here to work with, and how I'm gonna get those faces to sit right here. That's why we had to get these seats in, so we could figure all this, get it face towards the driver, make it totally central to him, or she, or he, or her.
Or them.
To him or her. All right, so I think I've come up with the way that we're gonna mount these Speed Hut gauges into this sun-shaded hood. So we have this, I kind of removed the 2 original gauges and then this computerized screen. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna notch out a circle for this and its mating ring to go ahead and pinch around this white bezel. And that's gonna put it in the same position as the original screens, just underneath these sunshade hoods. And it's gonna go pretty well. Now it's just I'll draw some circles out of here and get it looking good. So that's what I gotta notch out right there. I went ahead and was browsing on my phone and found that somebody makes some 3D printed gauge pod holders for this. So I ordered them just to see how they would fit, and they sit pretty nice. They're a little angled down for my liking, and I'm gonna see if I can kind of get it to lift up and face the driver a little bit better. And then I gotta see about the OEM hoods still fitting over this. But it's pretty cool to see those Speed Hut gauges in the cluster. Cue the old man noises. And the short guy reach. And sequence. Oh yeah. Look at that. Just look at that. Would you look at it? Would you just look at it?
Would you look at that? Just look at that.
I can't pull it.
And those guys will illuminate up. All the red lettering is gonna be nice and bright. But that is cool looking. Battery charge, state of charge, battery pack temperature, motor temperature. So these are our shroud hoods that were part of this apparatus when the stock gauges were in. I gotta see how I can make these gauge holders fit with the hoods in place. All right, so they sit in there and they fit pretty well, but I need to actually alter these feet in order for this to sit easier. Right now it's kind of straining on these old plastic screw holes and a couple of the fastenings. So I'm gonna do what I can to ease away some of that pressure. In order to get these gauge pods to sit vertical or pretty much eye level with the driver, what we had to do was go ahead and hog these holes out. Right now they're kind of, or as they came, they were angled down this way. I had to go ahead and get a rat's tail and kind of level that out. And then this plane right here was also at an angle. So I just kind of took a flat edge shaver and just shaved that to this plane right here. So now, instead of sitting like this, by hogging out the holes and planing the thing, it's gonna sit more like that. So, all right, so my gauges are in place now. Each of these have a single harness that plugs into the back of it. And there is a harness for the 12 volt power to turn them on, the ground for that 12 volt, then illumination, so that's going to kick on when you turn your lights on. Then there's also CAN bus communication, which tells these needles what to point at. Now, Speed Hut sent out these awesome, I kind of zip tied the feet of them. These are just T-splitters that branch off. So these are my 3 gauge connections here. And then they sent these nice little ribbons, almost PC status. But this is that 12 volt ground and light wire. And then this gray and black is our CAN communications. So this is what comes with each gauge, is one for the power and then one for the comms. And then they send these awesome splitters so that you can just kind of bundle these together, dress them nicely, but then you have your 3 leads going to your gauges. And it's fewer like soldering and doing your own connections. They provide these with it. It's pretty cool. So then I will connect the power and communications elsewhere in the probably in the shifter tunnel. All right, our final adjustments made, and they are sitting in there perfectly. They are all level with the driver's eyes. We'll go ahead and take this back off, and we will fasten everything. We'll panel bond and get everything really airtight in there. And then all of this stuff needs wiring to it, which is what I have dangling inside of here. They've penetrated into the cabin with our cable glands, but now we have, let's see, this one is for our brake. That'll go to our brake interlock. This is our pedal. It's got 6 wires. It's going to go to our throttle. This is all the stuff from the Fusion relay. So I'm going to branch all this out and get it all ran to our devices. I have illumination, CAN bus, and power that needs to go to each of these gauges. And we have our shift knob, our push start. I think that's it, but it's going to take a bit to do that. So before I can route all the 12 volt wires inside of the cab, because we changed from the throtlVIP board inside of our drive unit to utilizing the stock drive unit circuit board and interfacing the EV Controls T2C. So that's a whole other module that's going to go in between the power and communications going to the drive unit. The Hall effect throttle goes from a single channel to a dual channel, and we're changing from a brake transducer with a 0 to 5 range to help the regen and calibrate it. It is now just a brake on or off in order to enable gear shifting from drive to neutral to reverse. So there are a few changes that I need to make in the 23 pin that is here, and I have my 2 comparison sheets here. This is what I previously had wired for the throtlVIP board. This is what I need to wire between the 23 pin now, leading to either the T2C or the brake pedal interlock and the Hall effect throttle. So there's just a couple of things. I had this thing fully populated, and I'm down to maybe these guys that I can reuse. I got to repin the whole thing. So not really a big deal. It just kind of halts me from making any inside of cab processes, because I want to make sure I have the right amount of wires going between all of my devices. Just a little bit more work before we are able to get back inside of that cab and get our driver interface and things that the driver is going to interact with in place. Well, the 23 pin is done getting undone and redone. Yeah, that makes sense. So back plugged in, I now have my weather tight plugs in there. Everything is heat shrank. And now this is our encoder quick disconnect, so this subframe can pop back out. This is, even though it's got a plug and everything, I like just a little bit more weather resistance there. So we went ahead and ordered some Deutsch boots. So I'm gonna go ahead and unpin it. I'll slide this guy on there, and it's gonna be added. It's gonna actually overlap this connector and kind of run up the neck a little bit. Give a little bit more water resistance, because I mean, it's a weird place for a connection, but that's where Tesla has it from the factory. Right down here at the very bottom of the inverter, right next to the wheel and everything. So let's protect it as much as we can. All right, so I feel much better about these this Deutsch connector down here, right next to the amp seal. It is very well protected up there now.
What's up, boys?
What up? Oh, we're just messing with Will's project because he's out today, so we're gonna take over.
Mickey said he wants to steal the engine and trans out, so we're gonna take the whole rear subframe off. And then I'm noticing that there's some of the wheels that are not finished, so I'm gonna get to welding.
And also, we have a new motor coming from Tesla parts in the next day or two. So as you guys know, this isn't the final engine. So we'll be able to swap that out while it's on the floor, pop it back in, ready to go. I asked him to get a pry bar. Who gets that? That's not a pry bar. That's a pry bar. You know what I'm saying? Oh, there we go. Oh, yeah.
How did you do? What did you do?
Right down, dog.
Doing great, Quinn. Go back to the other style.
Put down your purse, bud.
A few minutes later.
Right here, there was part of the subframe was in, so there was spots like this one that you see that we couldn't get to. That's all I'm gonna be doing. They were able to do the outside one but not the inside, so I'm gonna be welding all the inside points of the subframe. That's it. Then after that, I don't know, but right now the job is just to weld the spots that we couldn't get to.
Ooh, that's new. What's that, Ricky?
This is a welding blanket, and we are gonna use to protect most of the harness that Will has dangling there. I'm just gonna throw these over it to make sure that no spark gets in there. Just gonna make sure, and then I'll get some zip ties to bring these up. All right, so as you can see, I finished welding everything. Everything that we couldn't weld before is completely finished. I also sand down all the surface rust, and I ended up putting some type of paint over it, that way it doesn't rust again. Don't forget, every Sunday, it is a Tesla Z video, so stay by for the next one. See you guys.